Villa Vie Odyssey's newest rental program, Goldilocks or Gimmick? Let's find out. Let's unpack it right here, right now. Hey Wanderers, Bill with Wandering Highlanders. And in this sort of special episode, I'm going to do a dive into a brand new program that I found while editing some other content on the Villa Vie. And I found this new rental program, and I don't see any other videos on it. It's a brand new program. The press release just went out on September 16th. We're going to unpack this, and really what we're going to look at is it right for you? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? That sort of thing. So let's sort of dive into first the website, and I'm going to tell you how I found it. All right, so from the main webpage of Villa Vie Residences, I'm scrolling down and I see that, wait, 4 ways to explore the world. Own a villa, rent a villa, endless horizons, and now this new rent to own. And I'm like, hold on a second, Bill. I think that's new. Let's go to the turn rent into home. And they claim that they have a new rent to own program. Your path to ownership 1 month at a time. Fascinating. A flexible path to making Villa Vie your permanent home at sea. I also found a Villa Vie Odyssey produced press release that we're going to dive through right now. Here are some major parts of the announcement. A new program called Month to Month at Sea with the rent to own benefit. That's from PR Newswire. Inside villas start at $2,999 per month per person, with ocean views from $3,499 per month per person. They claim a rent to own benefit of $500 a month of your monthly rent is credited towards the future purchase of a permanent villa or the Golden Passport. It is month to month, no long-term contract required. And this is why I'm starting to think this is them trying hard to find a Goldilocks. Also, just caveat, and let's just say this, I am not giving financial advice. I'm not giving retirement advice. This is just my observation as somebody that loves the ship, has traveled on the ship, and certainly wants to move to the ship at some point if life will ever allow me to. So I'm going to talk some advantages, some disadvantages, and we'll break it down. First of all, it's flexible. There is no multi-year commitment with this. You try living on board. They've had a 7-day try before you buy. I think that's like the, this bed is too soft type of thing. And then the full purchase is the bed is too hard sort of thing. I think this is them trying for that Goldilocks point. No long-term commitment. And so you can try it out. I'm also going to tell you, even from our personal experience of 17 days on board, I still don't know for sure if that is 100% enough time to truly make the decision. I think 30 days, maybe even more than 30 days, maybe 2 months, really as that try it out. You know what the cost is per day. You're going to try it out and you're really going to decide if this is for you long term. You're going to see more ports. You're going to see more places. You're going to dive into the community, and you're probably going to know by the end of 30 to 60 days. Okay? Another advantage to this is the pathway to ownership. Some people are going to like this. Some people are going to hate it. Your mileage may vary. You've probably heard me say that before. They're claiming that $500 of your monthly rent can get credited towards ownership. Okay? So if you want to eventually purchase a cabin, however long you stayed with the rental program, $500 a month of that goes in. Now, the funny thing is, at least from what I see, that's $500 whether you're talking a single or a double. So just keep that in mind, and that's probably something to talk to the salesperson about. Next advantage is Villa Vie's, I'm going to say famous, all-inclusive living. Okay? What are you talking? All your food, all your meals, coffee, you can get all the cappuccinos you want, you get the 2 beers at lunch or the 2 beers at dinner, or glasses of wine. Tips are included, your port fees are included. All of that stuff, all of those logistical costs are included, including twice a week service of your villa, where they do your laundry, they clean up your room, you get that twice a week. You get your Starlink Wi-Fi. So all of that all-inclusive living is included in this. And so that's, if you're thinking about the Villa Vie, this is the same from every other part of every option that they've got. The other advantage is, this is, again, that little bit deeper than the try before you buy of 7 days only. You got 7 days here, you got the full ownership here, where you got to put all the money in, and this gets you sort of, hopefully, that Goldilocks zone that they're trying to get to. Who is this really for, in my personal, humble opinion? Digital nomads or semi-retired, semi-working travelers. Somebody who's still keeping their sticks and bricks house, somebody who's got a footprint in their normal day-to-day life, and they don't want to walk away from that day-to-day life for good, like owning a cabin, but they want to go beyond just a little bit more than the vacation or the holiday mode. That's my personal opinion about who this fits for. And I'm going to do some breakdowns as far as for retirement folks. We'll kind of dive into some of that nerdy math in a little bit. Disadvantages of this program. This is just my analysis, my looking at it. Your mileage may vary. Fillet me in the comments, whatever, tell me where I'm wrong, okay? First of all, the high cost. Just the month-to-month for a single person is $3,000 a month, $29.99. If you buy a cabin, and again, we're talking interior cabins like deck 3, deck 4, whatever, you're talking $19.99 per month. But you have to pay that full $139,000 or more. So the high cost per month is, it's sort of, you're paying for the privilege of not having a contract. Okay, something that I picked up on, and the devil is in the details, right? So we're looking at their pricing and villa options, and you will see the monthly pricing for an inside villa is $29.99. Now here's the caveat. Per person based on double. Solos get 20% off. So let's say that you're a double. Well, $29.99 times 2. You're paying $59.98 or $6,000, just for simplicity's sake. Solos get 20% off. So we multiply that by 0.8. Solos are paying $4,800 a month, $47.98 for an inside villa. Let's go over here and let's look at a porthole villa. $34.99 per person based on double. So $3,499 times 2, $69.98 for a couple. Solos get 20% off. So if I'm doing the math right, we're talking $55.98 for a porthole villa, $5,998 per month for this rental option. So now that we know that, we'll just, again, I like to keep math simple here. We're going to talk inside villa, $29.98 times 2 times 0.8. All right, $4,800 a month. Let's go over and let's go to ownership for an inside villa. Inside villa, we're going to pick availability, and we're going to pick a real life inside villa. Okay, we'll look at 3029 right here. Their double occupancy is $4,000 a month. Their single occupancy is $3,000 a month. And a single, from the math that I had opened up before, a single month-to-month renter is paying $4,800 a month versus your monthly maintenance fee of $3,000. So you have to look at this math, and this math is really going to make a big difference, and that's where you're going to decide. Again, as a couple, are you spending $4,000 a month, but you're paying $130,000 for the villa, or do you not pay the money on the villa and you are spending $6,000 a month instead of $4,000 a month? And that, my dear friends, is where the math is going to be up to you, and that is where the devil is in the details, and you need to math it for yourself and decide what is best for you.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Another thing is the slow amount of money going towards your buy-in. $500 a month. Well, let's just do simple bill math, right? For every 2 months, you're talking $1,000. So if you spend 6 months on board, that's 3 times 1,000, that's $3,000. Okay. If you spend a whole year on board, that would be $6,000 towards that $139,000. Now you've also spent an extra $1,000 a month over the course of that. But if you want that ability to really make the decision and or close your life out and or figure out if you're ready to expat, that might still be an advantage and not a disadvantage. As far as additional fees, additional ongoing costs, well, if you are traveling month to month, you are going to be limited as far as when you can get on, get off, and you are going to be incurring whatever those international travel fees are based on where is home. All right, so just know that that will be a part of it. And of course, none of this includes what you do out on the town, what you do on what I would call on liberty when the ship hits port and you walk across that gangplank. Every minute, every day that you walk across that gangplank, it's probably going to cost you money, right? You have to budget for that. And the next point is uncertainty or operational risk. The Villa Vie Odyssey, as people know well who followed its journey and its saga, certainly has no shortage of risk involved. There has been no shortage of drama involved, and there's no shortage of haters, of people that hate the Villa Vie concept. Okay? So you have to be willing to do all of that, and then be willing to risk that money, or when you look at it dollars per day, is that a worthwhile vacation? Is that a worthwhile investment of your hard-earned treasure, your retirement money, whatever? Here's the other risk, and this is just a fact of all cruise life, but I'm saying this because right now, as we speak, the Villa Vie Odyssey has left Taiwan. They are sheltering, I believe, in Subic Bay, Philippines, because there's a typhoon or a super typhoon going on out there in the Pacific. And they had to bug out when they did to beat the storm and to get to a safe harbor. And that's what they're doing. And they are sitting, as far as I know, safe and sound based on the last post that I've seen of people posting on Facebook. So just know that those logistical things are always going to be a variable when it comes to life, especially on board a round the world cruise ship like this. Another possible issue, and I haven't read the contracts, all I've seen is the PR notice and their website. But what if they raise the fees over time? Maybe, come on, there's inflation, right? Cost of food goes up, cost of bunker oil or whatever goes up, whatever fuel it runs on, diesel. Fees could increase over time. And so that, whatever it is, $3,000, $4,000 a month, whatever it is that you're paying, could go up, because unless that's baked into the contract. And again, I haven't seen the contract, so I can't guarantee. That's for you to do your due diligence, right? The final disadvantage is, let's just call it the lifestyle. The lifestyle on board the Villa Vie is both an advantage and a disadvantage. You have to make that decision. Is that what's in it for you? I can tell you for us right now, my wife absolutely wants a full-time RV, infinitely more than she wants to live on board the Villa Vie Odyssey. So this, for us, the time is not right for now. That will change or can change as life changes, right? Also, some people will just decide that the lifestyle isn't for them, and that is why I personally really recommend more of a try before you buy, or a rental. Go to villavierentals.com or rent directly from the Villa Vie and test it out before you drop the money, unless you're just 100% convinced and you're just all in. So let's talk some numbers and comparisons. This is based on the publicly available information. The most basic cabin that you can get is $129,000. For monthly fees as an owner, for single, is $1,999, or we'll call it $2,000 a month. I believe it's $3,000 a month if you're a double. That's where this will really start to get interesting, and when I pull that website up in a little bit, we'll look at that more. But just talking singles, you're spending $1,000 or more a month for the freedom of no contract, pop in, pop out. It's obviously more if you want a porthole. I'm only talking interior cabin. We're going to keep the math simple. As far as the rent credit goes, you can do your own math on this, but knowing that only $500 a month towards full ownership, if that's the route that you want to go, it will be up to you to decide if that's really is a good investment for you. Is that peace of mind the investment that you're looking for? So, who is this best for? Number one, somebody that is really curious about the life on the Villa Vie, but isn't ready to commit the hard, cashy money to buy the cabin and lock yourself into that cabin. Number two, this is for people with flexible resources that don't want to tie up their large batch of capital. Maybe you've got a business you're selling. Maybe you've got rental properties that you're going to sell. Whatever it is, and you're not willing to shed those hard capital assets yet, but you want to give this a try, that could be for you, right? The one that's near and dear to my personal heart is the concept of digital nomad or semi-retired. I am currently what I would call a semi-retired spot. I got doged out of my government job. I will need to get an additional job because my retirement pay doesn't match with what I need, what I want for this phase of my life. I'm only 50, right? So I would love to get a full-time digital remote job. Ideally making videos, by the way. So just saying, you need somebody to make videos for your company. It's what I did for the last 15 years for my agency. So with a full-time digital nomad type of job, go to the Odyssey. You can work out of your cabin. You can work out of the facilities there. And that really can work. And the next person that it's good for is somebody who's okay with the high living costs. And what they care about more is lifestyle than ROI. And there are certainly people that we met on the Odyssey. They care far more about the ROI on lifestyle and experiences than they care about the bottom line, because maybe they've just got that figured out and they've got the passive income figured out in their lives, and they're okay with spending a little bit more money just to have freedom and flexibility. If that's you, this might be your plan. Now let's talk about who is this not for. Not for. If you're on a limited budget, and if you're scraping by on just Social Security and a very limited pension, and you don't have the flexible stuff for uncertainty of costs, you probably don't want to do this. Just a thought, okay? This is not good for people that want ownership quickly. Like if you've got the money and you don't want to waste the money on rent, buy a cabin, right? Duh, okay? And this is not for people that dislike in-between situations, right? This is, again, I'm using a Goldilocks example. I think this is really the Villa Vie's attempt to find that Goldilocks where it's not too soft, it's not too hard, it's just right. That's just my thoughts as I read the tea leaves on this. This is also not for people, and the Villa Vie, quite frankly, is not for people worried about its long-term viability, its long-term risk, or the resale risk. Generally speaking, the Villa Vie is for people that are diving in hard into lifestyle over anything else. Let's just kind of scroll through the website. Well, let's kind of look. So right here, we're looking at their press release. Inside villas from $3,000 and then ocean view from $3,500 per person. So according to this, if you're a couple, then you're spending $6,000 a month for a couple. Just keep that in mind. Now again, flexible monthly living, affordable entry, the rent to own benefit. You get all of the typical things. And how do you find out about it? Well, you go to Villa Vie Residences. So now I want to kind of look at a couple other concepts, okay? One way that you can rent is you can just rent and pay as you go. You find a villa, you pay it, and you can do it. You can book your stay, and if you go here to villas and rates, you can look for long-term and short-term. You can run that math. I've got one open here, and this is an interior cabin, 3147, 130 square feet. And based on double occupancy, you can get that for $139 per day. And what I chose on this was 1 month of November 1st to 30th, 30 days, day rate applied, total fare right there, port taxes, yada, 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 all of that service charge, okay? Your final amount, $8,000, $8,300 for 30 days. So let's just do some math here. Make sure that I'm getting it right. 8,340 divided by what is 30 days, okay? $278 per day, okay? Now, if I'm understanding this right, this is for 2 occupants. So, is this good money? $278 per day. Personally, if I were to math this out, I'd be looking at what is a comparison. Well, generally speaking, I personally would put the Villa Vie somewhat on par with like an Embassy Suites. So you run the math on what an Embassy Suites is, and I'm gonna do this completely unscripted. So let's just go to Embassy Suites, and I'm just gonna look for my home of Denver, and I'm gonna do it for the exact same month, October 1 through 30. We're gonna do 30 days, right? 1 room, 2 adults, boom, find a hotel. And I'm not signed into my H Honors account. This is just going full, raw quick, right? And I am looking for Embassy Suites downtown. If I'm a Denver Central Park, 143. Denver Tech Center, DIA, okay, hey, there's a great price, 138. So if I were to roughly estimate this out, so let's call it $130 per day. And what were we getting on the calculator for that? 278. 278 minus 130 is $148. Divide that by 2 meals, because you get breakfast for free at the Embassy Suites, right? Divided by 2. And then, so that's lunch and dinner. Divide that by 2 people, $37 per meal. So if you're just talking food and lodging, it's slightly more expensive than staying at an Embassy Suites and eating out. But of course, what are you getting? You're getting your Wi-Fi, you're getting your tips, you're getting your laundry taken care of. You're getting the 2 free beers at lunch, 2 free beers or glasses of wine at dinner. You're getting worldwide travel. So if in that very quick, unscripted math nerding it out, I put staying on the Villa Vie not dissimilar to staying at a mid-grade Embassy Suites in a mid-grade town. Like, I'm not even looking at, fancy towns or fancy places. This is just in Conus, okay? Do your own math, nerd it out better than me, but I'm just showing you an example. I'm trying to show that I personally find that for a vacation concept, the Villa Vie on a dollars per day basis for me came out similar to what we personally did for our vacations or for my corporate travel that I used to do, okay? So if I were to think about some ideal people to be looking at this program, you are somebody with a good nest egg, with a good amount of passive income. You don't want to go fully hardcore. You don't want to go full expat yet. I think that's who this is for. This is for people that want that Goldilocks zone. You don't want to be a full expat from wherever is home. You still want to maintain your sticks and bricks. And where I live in Michiana, there are people from the Chicago area that have second homes here on the lakes near where I live, and they pay for that house all the time. Well, instead of paying for that house, that second home, and all of its costs of upkeep and maintenance and all that kind of stuff, going off and doing a full month on the Villa Vie or doing 1 or 2 months at a time, totally good. And if you watch some of our earlier videos where I talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Villa Vie, for us, you'll see that we found that we're not ready to expat. I am not fully ready to dive all the way in on all of the requirements, especially the month-to-month requirements of healthcare insurance and all the other stuff that goes with a full expat life. That is what the Villa Vie Odyssey is. So, to land the plane, I really think that this is an interesting potential third option. It's a very good happy medium between the short-term rentals, whether you're renting from the Villa Vie or villavierentals.com, or if you're buying, this gives you that happy middle point to try it out deeper and to see. Tell me in the comments. I'm really curious to see what you all think. Go to the websites, read it yourself. Tell me what I'm getting wrong. Tell me what you agree with. Is this a good opportunity? Obviously, to me, what I think this is Villa Vie knows for a fact they need to fill up cabins, right? I'm going to do a really quick scroll. Today's date is September 22nd. And let's just do a quick look at how much is open in green for available for ownership. Okay, this is, let's go down to the cheapest of the cheap. Okay, deck 2 is not open, under maintenance. So looking at deck 3. What would we call that? Approximately 1/3, maybe more, is still open for ownership. And anything in the gold, marigold color is available for rental. Anything in the dark orange is on hold. So you can see that available, and then anything in white, gray is reserved. So I see approximately 1/3 of the ship on that third deck, the cheapest stuff, is open for ownership. Now, a lot more of the portholes are open than the interior cabin, so just keep that in mind if you're looking to go super cheap. Let's go to deck 4. All right, deck 4 is quite a bit more filled out, but there's still certainly a number of open options, and these will go away as people start to take this up. So something to really consider is maybe this is working, okay? Deck 5, there's nothing for sale on deck 5. Deck 6, this is the pricier stuff, right? What did we call that? 6th Avenue? Our friends up in the beautiful ones up front. Okay, so, and again, you know, talking costs, right? This is not even apples and oranges. You know, this is, we're comparing beer and champagne at this point, looking at deck 6. But deck 6 is starting to get filled up quite a bit more. Deck 7, there's a lot less open than what I was expecting, okay? And so, and then again here, nothing, and then a few more. So the uber most expensive deluxe balcony villas, what is that? Roughly 50% is not fully owned out yet, ballpark. So what I'm seeing here, just looking at the ship's plan, is Villa Vie is trying to turn every green square and turn it into gray or into turning it into reserved, right? Reserved or available for rental. They're trying to change it out of the green. That's just my guess, but honestly, the more that they fill those up and get those sold and or rented out, the better off the ship is going to do long term. Your choice, let me know. Was this a good move on the Villa Vie's part? Does this make you more interested in renting and trying it out before you buy? Or are you still completely convinced the Villa Vie is gonna fail and that it's gonna go under and everybody on board is a complete nutter? I know there are people that think that. Let me know in the comments where you're thinking. And if you haven't already, please check out our other videos in our story. Find out why did we go to the Villa Vie Odyssey? Why did we spend 17 days? And check out what it was like for us. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Check out what our port time was like and see what you think about lifestyle on the Villa Vie Odyssey. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for hopping in this video, and we will see you on the journey.